What it do, Bruce Juice Crew? It's time to go to the moon. Look at the moon doggies for week 11. And what we're going to do here is look at those juicy matchups for the wide receivers and running backs. Call out those running backs who are in smash matchups. This is going to help you with prop bets, your lineup decisions. But most importantly, right now, this is one of those videos on Saturday that you drop your start-sit questions in the comment section below. Trying to help somebody out. That's going to give you some good juju for the week. That's going to help you out as well because it's going to get the ball rolling going into Sunday. On top of that, you need to click that subscribe button right now. I roll out 2 videos every Sunday helping you with your lineups. The Moondoggy video, which is this one, the must start video, and I answer all the questions on Saturday night. You're going to need this next year, the year after. Whenever you got a question, just come to that video on Saturday, rock and roll it. We've been doing this for years. Very consistent. Unless somebody's dying on my end, I'm going to be here. Click that button, though. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You're not going to want to disappoint Ric Flair. Starting off here, Ja'Marr Chase. Obvious, Bruce. Obvious. But it's about the matchup here, honestly. So now think about this in ancillary role players, tight ends, T. Higgins on the Bengals side. And the Steelers are giving up fantasy points in droves to wide receivers. Ja'Marr Chase hit for almost a 40 spot last time he played against them. Last 2 weeks, Pittman, 20. Lyle McConkey, 20. Justin Jefferson got 22. Garrett Wilson got 22.5. Everybody's hitting the fairway except for the Patriots, except for the Browns, and obviously the Browns are the Browns for a reason. And you're looking at this, and you're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals and the Steelers game. You got a 49.5 over-under. Vegas is saying, hey, we might catch some fireworks. Joe Flacco doesn't care. He's pushing it downfield. He's on the last leg of his career. He's like Chapman for love of the game. He's trying to finish this off strong, and he's pushing it to these stud wide receivers. Also, Jaylen Warren in this matchup, we covered this yesterday, 49.5 over-under. Everybody's running on the Bengals. Everybody. They have not pushed down a running back yet. Last time Warren went up against them, 19.8 PPR fantasy points. Warren has been solid getting the touches. There have been rumors that he's getting more work, which when you look at this matchup, obviously, he's going to be getting more work in this matchup. You look at this game script, potentially it should be pretty run-focused. There should be a lot of movement back and forth. Commanders, Dolphins, 47.5 over-under. You're looking at Washington and what they've been doing since week 7, and they've been getting blown up. There's not many other wide receivers here for the Dolphins to really steal the targets away, and Jaylen Waddle has been hot since week 8. His last bust week was week 7, and he was hot 2 games prior for that, and you're looking at this is a good matchup. They have allowed a wide receiver to hit against them every week, but that Chicago game, laced to the fairway. Like Neighbors barely got there, Dubs barely got there. McConkey kind of got there at 14.9. That's right in the middle of the fairway there. 10 to 15, 17-ish PPR fantasy points. But they're allowing someone to blast off, to go off against them every single week. Cowboys, Raiders. If you're looking for players to start, if you're in a deeper league, go to this matchup, 50.5 over-under, and I can just find out ways where the numbers are just good for fantasy production for everybody. Not everybody's going to hit. That's obvious. And then usually 1 to 3 games will just flip on its head and not give you the game script that's being projected out. It's usually around 1 to 3 games. But with that and the odds and everything we're seeing with the Cowboys games, even with matchups like against the Packers, it still goes off. They got the firepower to push the pace. They got the defense, even though they've added some pieces, and they got some pieces back. That's something to pay attention to. Ashton and Jeanty should go off in this matchup. I think a lot of players are going to go off in this matchup. I think this could be the primetime Jeanty game where they get to talk him up, talk about Boise State, all that stuff. I look for him to easily hit the fairway, if not blast off against this team. Everybody has blasted off except for Washington. Weird quarterback situation in that game. JD5 went out. And then Amari Demercado, it's Arizona. It's Arizona. And you're looking at all this stuff, though. Every single running back outside those 2 games has blasted off against them. CeeDee Lamb versus the Raiders. The Raiders are giving it up in fantasy production, the wide receivers. So also Pickens, Fergie Ferg, whoever's running routes in his offense has a better chance this week. There should be good movement here. CeeDee Lamb. A lot of people were talking down on him on Twitter, but you're looking at his last 3 games, 22, 14, 15. Remember, he was just hurt. We had that ramp up. We're looking solid here. We got a matchup here where we should be going off. Also, if you're down on the fantasy production, game scripts, Denver, Cardinals, you're looking at that. It's up and down. Football's going to football. This is a good matchup for him. He should easily hit the fairway for you, and he has the chance to blast off for you. Josh Jacobs against the Giants. Now, Jameis Winston is starting for the Giants here, so that could create some opportunities if it's pick six city. Also, that Packers D, you don't want to mess around with that, throwing pick sixes. And now you're looking at the Giants. They have been getting road dogged the last 3 weeks by running backs. The Bears, McCaffrey, Barkley, Josh Jacobs getting a lot of touches in this game, pounding it out. We got a spread of 7. Over unders 42.5. It could be much lower than that, considering they're starting a backup quarterback. The Giants are, and considering the Packers defense, I should expect Josh Jacobs to easily land the fairway, but have potential to come home strong this week. Bears, Vikings, 48.5 over under. Vegas is saying we're going to get a lot of movement in this matchup. This is a matchup you may want to target. It's also a matchup we had earlier this season that was a little bit interesting because it started off kind of slow but got a little bit volatile at the end. You're looking at this, and what the Bears are allowing, they're getting hit up by wide receivers. Darius Slayton, with the quarterback issues there with the Giants, was able to get to 12.9. Then before that, T. Higgins, 31.1. Flowers goes off 14.1, 26.8 Olave. Wide receivers are getting it. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison attack the pass catchers here for the Vikings. Panthers, Falcons, our boy Rico, 42.5 over under. Atlanta, the last 4 games have been allowing running backs to at least hit the fairway. Rico Dowdle has already hit the fairway against him, sharing a lot of the backfield with Chuba. I think Rico's a very safe start. I think he's going to hit the fairway in this matchup. I think we'll catch some good back and forth in this game. I think this is going to be interesting, too, with Carolina. Really depends on what version of Carolina you get, because if you get that rank version, then that could impact him. Like, that could be just him getting you 10. But if you can get them, like, moving the ball a little bit and Rico firing out there, this could be an interesting matchup. This could be one of those matchups that flips on you. Chargers, Jaguars, 43.5 over under. The Jaguars are notorious of pushing down game scripts. We're looking at Gadsden. We're worried about the knee. He's a stud, though. He's back. He's already back out there. Now we got a grand matchup. Oronde Gadsden. He's out there. You're probably going to just throw him out there this week. This is a great matchup. On top of that, say the knee becomes an issue, or say they figure out a way to slow it down. Ladd McConkey out of the slot, next man up with that speed. That's what I would be looking at. I would not be surprised if this ends up by proxy a Ladd McConkey game. And you're also looking at the other wide receivers, but just thinking about that short to intermediate with that speed out of the slot. Texans, Titans, 37.5 over under. Woody Marks, a little bit volatile with a couple down games, but he's starting to get consistent in his offense. Tennessee's very consistent when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs week in and week out. You're looking at this. Titans, Texans, you're thinking about this matchup being slow, which it should be, 37.5 over under. Davis Mills came correct at the end of the last game. Don't know if we're going to get that this week, but you're looking at this. Woody Marks has a lot of opportunity in this matchup to blast off for you. Bears, Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, we're looking at a 48.5 over under here. And J.J. McCarthy's been solid, getting you to the fairway, getting you fantasy production, getting you a fair amount of passing attempts. This is a good matchup for him at home with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, who had well over 20-some targets together last week to start connecting. That is something to look at here going in this matchup. If you're looking for somebody off waivers or an ancillary quarterback to throw in, this is a matchup to attack. Bills, Bucks, I expect a lot of firepower here in this game. This is another matchup I'm attacking everybody. I think James Cook is the safe upside play here. You're looking at what the Bucks are allowing. They're allowing some of these running backs to go off. And the way James Cook is implemented in this offense and the way they push the pace, there's a good chance we get into the red zone, we fire out there, we do well. We did not have the greatest performance fantasy-wise against the Dolphins last 2 games. Again, those were weird-ass game scripts. Bucks are always in a game script where there's good fantasy production, unless it's against the Saints with Spencer Rattler just laying eggs all over the place. Cowboys, Raiders, I don't like Geno Smith, the player. I like the matchup. I think there is a risk here. The Cowboys are adding some defensive players in this matchup. That's going to really create some changes here, but quarterbacks are at least hitting the fairway of not blowing up against them every single week. A high over-under for their matchups every single week. We should expect some good back and forth, and if you got Trey Tucker and you can't start him, trade him away. Trade him away. If you can't start him in this game, how are you going to start him against the Browns? How are you going to start him later? This is the matchup where if you can't start him, try and get something out of him. If you can't get something out of one of your players, if you can't start a Raider today and you got him, then you got to get rid of him, because this is the matchup you look at on the schedule and you just put the player in. You're looking at Devin Achane against the Washington Commanders here. 47.5 over under. The Washington Commanders, they got a defense that's sneaky. I'll definitely say that when it comes to fantasy production. They're also getting hit up by running backs. Achane is the heartbeat and soul of this offense. 38.2 allowed to Gibbs. 17.2 allowed to Kareem Hunts. Javonte Williams, 18.8 in a busted game script. Swift, 25.5. I think Achane's good to go to the moon today. Bijan Robinson, Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers last 3 games. Cook, Jacobs, Kamara, getting road dog. Carolina Panthers had a 2-game stint where they were slowing things down. They also started off the season pretty solid, not allowing the running backs to bust them up that bad, but at least allowing them to get to the fairway. Bijan got to the fairway pretty well at 16.1, but now Carolina's rolling over a little bit in terms of fantasy production. Bijan, safe, could blast off. Those are the moon doggies that we're looking at for Week 11. Let me know your start-sit questions down below. Type that out real quick. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.